This one is about social media. I don't hear the two of you talking a lot about social media addictions, technology addictions, like addictions to Facebook or Twitter. What do you think of the new Netflix movie about this? And is social media addiction something that you deal with in the Life Process program? Eager to hear your thoughts.
Actually, that's something at some points you and I have been preoccupied with.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, because we're dealing with children, it's absolutely in our book, Outgrowing Addiction. And in a way, we've gotten off it because to some extent, everybody's aware of it now. And social media and video and electronic addiction is an addiction in ICD-11. I have a video about gaming addiction that I did where 4 kids interviewed me from California. It's just a fun thing. Try and look it up. And what I say there, and I know you have exact thoughts about this as well. I've heard you express them. You're not going to get through life today not being electronically sophisticated. Why don't you take it for a second there? You've worked with kids where they're linked to performing and integrating in the classroom was their electronic video skills.
Well, I remember when Snapchat was just coming out. I don't even know if do you use Snapchat, or have you heard of it?
I don't use it, but I've heard of it.
I only have heard. Well, maybe I would have heard of it by now, but at the time, the only reason I knew it was because high school kids were using it. Now I have it on my phone, so everyone was afraid because you could send these little videos and then they disappear. So, like, what's stopping all of my kids from seeing all this pornography or something like, they're just horrified of this technology. Fair enough to be afraid of it, but then I hate to say, I don't know how to put this any other way, but bluntly, your kid's not doing that with Snapchat. Maybe they are, but they have Pornhub. They have all these sites. And what I'm trying to say is that technology, you might not like it and you might not be worried about it, but the answer is not stomp out every little bit of technology all around. You're either going to incorporate it into a life in some way, learn about it, learn how to use it in a basically pro-social, good valued way, or it's just going to engulf you because you're not going to get rid of it. And I think that's what you were saying.
And what I talked to those kids about, they were asking me, well, can gaming be addictive? And I thought I did a good job turning the question around. I said, well, when would you say a friend was having a problem?
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
And then they'd say, well, he never leaves. I mean, it ain't brain science. If you're a parent, if your child shuts the curtains and spends all day in his bedroom, that's not good. And if he plays games with other kids, that's better. And if he goes outdoors sometimes and actually meets some people, which is a whole other, of course, now we have the pandemic, which scrambles the whole omelet, and obviously makes the task more difficult. But in a way, it says what we said. It used to be that you might say to your kid, why don't you go outside and play with some kids? Now, to some extent, perhaps the most sociable and interactive thing you can do is to interact through media, social media. So there's an example of where if you had chiseled all of this 10 commandments of raising your child and what's addictive, you've had to erase it. And it's hard to erase chiseled stone, as you might know. They still have the same 10 commandments, and you have to make the best deal you can with the environment you're faced with. And of course, we want to create the best environments that are possible. That's what politics are for. That's why you vote for a president. That's why you try and create a good society. We want to cure the pandemic. We want to encourage kids. There was another article in the New York Times. Damn, they do some bad things. They do some good things. The mother said, I'm becoming a mother I don't want to be because of the pandemic. And she says, I'm a pretty good range-free mother, which we discussed range-free in Outgrowing Addiction, which is you let your kids hit the turf and, they come home at a certain time. But now when they go out, she lets them out, which is already, 1 in 10. She says, did you wear your face mask the whole time you were at the playground. You know, she's becoming the mother that she didn't want to be. She wants them to go out and experience life on their own, and she's doing that. She lets them go to the playground, but she nags them about making sure they wear. What can you say? That's a situation we're facing, and she's saying, "I'm becoming a mother I don't want to be." I had a totally different reaction. I said, "You let your kids go out." She has 4 sons. You let your kids go out and rollerblade and ride scooters, whatever they do at the playground. That people don't do that anymore. And the fact that you say, "Let's be really, really safe," and you remind them, maybe you remind them a few times too many. Obviously, at some point, you're going to have confidence in them, because you can't, unless you're going to go out there and ride a scooter too. But she's doing the best with a changing and difficult situation, and the best is always not to restrict you, to limit you, to make it impossible to have relationships. The Life Process Program is about allowing people to interact with the world freely and fully, to use their skills to develop a purpose in education, a job that they like, to have relationships, intimacy, and community. Obviously, that intimacy and community looks a little bit different today than when, we first wrote the Life Process Program.
Let me ask you like a 2.0 question to this. Tristan Harris starred in that movie about social media. I don't remember what it was called, but you know what I'm talking about. The social... Oh, okay. I'll
the guy who developed Facebook,
not Mark Zuckerberg, but anyway, it was the guy that was part of this documentary who's saying, well, all these social media giants, their algorithms are meant to basically force you to be addicted. They're tricking you into behaving in an addictive way. What are your thoughts on that, about being forced to be addicted? Because I'm not sold that that's a non-resolvable problem.
Do you ever perceive that in your experience with social media, Zach, that you're being manipulated? Because you're a relatively sophisticated social media user. You feel you're being corralled at points?
Yeah, I guess so. I just think it's good sometimes I laugh at that I'm knowingly clicking on another video, even though I told myself I wanted only 5 minutes, but now I'm making it 10. And I'm very conscious of it. I'll laugh it off saying, wow, they really got me. But that's not addiction. That's making a choice.
Well, you have a child. Mm. I have grandchildren. If I watch television with grandchildren, I'm such a pain in the ass. They have a picture of some good-looking actress, and then they show somebody doing motorcycle tricks, and then they cut, and they show the person doing motorcycle tricks taking off their helmet, and it's some beautiful woman. So I go to my grandkids, is that woman really doing those motorcycle tricks? And of course, my grandkids are like 13 to 6. They don't think about that, but I'm making them think about that. They're trying, they're cutting. They don't risk beautiful actresses doing motorcycle tricks. They have people who do motorcycle tricks. And they're manipulating the image for you to think, oh, look, this beautiful woman likes to drive this motorcycle in a risky way for whatever they're selling. And I'm making them mindful. This is how they make it. People who produce movies or ads do this. You have to be aware of that, because your whole life comes through the media.